Let's get started. Alright, so welcome back to Chapter 8. We're now on 8.6, so hopefully you finished up 8.8. 8.8 is factor by grouping. We have to have that skill to be able to do 8.6. That's why we did that one first. The big idea here is very similar to 8.5. You can also factor a trinomial into two binomials when the leading coefficient is a number other than 1. So this part is what we're changing, okay? We have done factoring a trinomial into two binomials. Okay, let's remember that's when we find the factors of C that add together to give me B, and then we write it as two binomials. Well, we can also do that when A here is not 1. It's 3 or 8 or 9. We can do that too, but it's a little bit of a bigger process. So let's think back just real quick to our 8.5, in which we were dealing with this right here, if you remember.
I can't make it down, so get down your seat and jump around.
Great music. I can handle in one day. So 3 plus 7x, and then 3 times 7, which is 21. Well, that's just distribution. Now we're going to go back. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mute myself because you know how much I love listening to myself talk. But if you remember, basically, factors of 15 that add together to give me 8. We went through and we found them, and we found that it was probably going to be 5 and 3 is going to be the ones that add together to give me 8 and 15. We're going to do that same thing now, only again, in front of here, we're going to have something other than just a 1. We're going to have a 2 or a 3, and so the process changes just a little bit. Alright, so let's go back and get this thing started. Alright, so how do we do this? Okay, well let's show you how we're going to do this. Okay, here's my first one that I'm running into right here. And it's a 5 as my leading coefficient, not 1. So I'm going to do what is called, and you're going to use this for the rest of your high school mathematical career, and if you're lucky enough to go on into college mathematics, then you'll use it there too. But this is called the AC method. Okay. Now saying it is important, but seeing what I'm talking about is even more important. A times C method. And what we do is we take A, which is 5, and we take C, which is 2, and we multiply them together, and we get 10. And now we're going to take the factors of 10. I'm going to squeeze it in here. Okay, the factors of 10, and find out which ones add together to give me a positive 11. Okay, so the factors of 10, let's see, what do we get? We get 5 and 2. Okay, and their sum is 7, so that's not it. We could do negative 5 and negative 2, and their sum is negative 7. Well, that's not it. We could do 10 and 1, and their sum is 11. Bingo, there it is. So the factors of 10, 10 and 1, that add together to give me 11, this is where I'm getting 11 from, are right here. Now we need to rewrite in a grouping method. Okay, let me show you what I mean. A, we're going to go ahead and bring straight down. So here's step 2. Okay, A, we bring straight down, 5x squared. Okay, that should all be read. Not sure why that's going that way. Next, we're going to bring down our factors, 10 and 1, plus 10x plus x. Alright, we have to have an x because it's 11x, so you have to have an x. If it was 11x squared, we make it 10x squared and x squared. It just has to be the same term. Now we bring down c, so plus 2. Again, here's c, here's a, so we multiply a and c together, and then we use them in step 2 too. Now we go back to what is 8.8, factor by grouping. Remember, we group them together like this and like this to take out the common factor. Over here we end up with a 5x as the common factor, which leaves us with inside an x plus 2. And over here there's no common factor, so we can factor out a 1 though, so we'll just factor out a 1. Leaves it as x plus 2. Which means my final answer is 5x plus 1 and x plus 2. Okay, so let's recap just real quick. We started with a and c. We multiplied them together. That number that we got, we took the factors of that number until we found the factors that gave us the sum of the middle number, or the middle term, 11x. Then we took a and c again, brought them down as the edges of our factor by grouping. 10 and 1 were in here. Okay? And then we used 8, 8, which was factor by grouping. And remember, we always want the inside to be the same, and it was. And then this was our final answer. Those are the factors of this trinomial. Okay? So, let's try number 2. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause. Try number 2, number 3. Actually, try number 3, and then I'll do number 2 with you. If you want to try 2, by all means, go ahead. But I'm going to do 3 next, and then I'll come back and do 2 and 4.
Here you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm not.
Alright, so this is what I got. Hopefully you got something similar. Again, a times c, so 6 times 5 is 30. Factors of 30 that add together to give me 13 are 10 and 3. Alright, now bring down a, 6x squared, plus my factors, 10x and 3x. Remember, we have to have the x because we want it to add to 13x, plus c, 5, so a and c are used again. Now 8, 8 factor by grouping. Greatest common factor will come out. The greatest common factor here is 2x, comes out. There is no common factor here, but remember, we can always bring out that 1. Then the 2x and 1 are over here. 3x plus 5 and 3x plus 5 are over here. Alright? Well, let's do a negative. Let's do one with a negative. I keep having to move this thing all over the place, so we'll move it over here now. And let's talk about negatives. Alright. If we end up... Now, this time, nothing's going to change. We're still going to use the AC method. Okay? A times C method. Alright, and then this is 3 times negative 15 because there is a negative in front of it. So C is negative this time, which equals negative 45. So I want my factors here of negative 45, that add together, that sum, to give me 4. Okay? Well, negative 45, I know there's a 5 in there right away, so let's say 5 and 9. One of them's got to be negative. If we make the 9 negative, then this is, excuse me, then this is, the sum is negative 4. Well, that's not what we want, but that is real close. So let's go ahead and make the 5 negative and the 9 positive, and the sum is now 4. So this is the one we want. So bring down a, 3x squared. Get my factors in here, minus 5x plus 9x minus 15. Group, just like we did in 8, 8. Greatest common factor here is x. So we take out an x and we're left with 3x minus 5. Greatest common factor here looks like it's a 3. So we take out a 3 and we're left with 3x minus 5. Final answer, x plus 3 and 3x minus 5. Okay. Oh, turned red on me. Alright, try number 4, and then I will show you the answer. Go ahead and press pause and try that one out. Alright, so this is what we run into right here. This one was a little bit tougher. As you see, I got negative 140, and it took me a second to figure out what the factors were that added together to give me 31. I did negative 14 and 10, which gave me negative 4, and I gave up with the 14 and 10 right there because the only other way would be positive 4. Then I did a negative 7 and 20, 13, that wasn't there, and then this one here is negative 35, or 35 and negative 4, which gave me 31. So that was the one that I used. And then you can see here's a 35, x, that's an x in there. Here's negative 4x. And now, the only key thing on this is because when I factored out here, I end up with the 2x plus 7. And I see over here this is negatives. I need a positives. So I factored out a negative 2 to make it 2x plus 7, make it positive. So that was the only trick there. Other than that, not much going on there. I'm going to skip this error analysis. This is something from your homework. Hopefully you can figure out where they went wrong. But right here, I want to talk about this one real quick. Sometimes you end up with these nasty big ones. I mean, this is huge. 18 times 12, and then find the factors of that that are going to give you negative 33. I don't want to do that. I don't want you to do that. You should always try to find a greatest common factor. And on this one, there is one, and it's 3. If I take a 3 out of here, then I end up with 18 divided by 3, which is 6x squared minus 11x plus 4. That's a lot easier to deal with. Now I'm talking about 24, or the factors of 24. That'll add up to give me negative 11. Okay, so you get 6 and 4. Well, that's 10. That didn't work. 8 and 3. That's 11. That's really close, so let's go negative 8 and negative 3, which is negative 11. These are the ones I'm going to use. Go ahead and finish this one off, but remember this little trick. Sometimes I'll write a huge one in here, and it doesn't mean you're going to be working on this forever. It just means there's a greatest common factor. Factor it out. Alright, I'll see you in class. Peace!